Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday, September 9th meeting of the Norton Planning Board. The public is welcome to participate either in person or remotely. We are here in person at the Norton Town Hall at 72 East Main Street in the Crane Room. You can also join online via the link in the agenda. You can feel free to email questions to town staff ahead of the meeting as listed in the agenda. We have 5 members in person tonight. I will call a meeting to order. Planning Board business and policies. I don't believe we have anything to talk about right off the bat. Do we have any bills, Brian, to pass down?
No, just payroll, which Eric had signed already.
Very good. We do have a bunch of minutes that Brian has caught up with. We will take at the end of the meeting. First item on the agenda is A&R 18 for 73 South Washington Street. The owner is David Labarella. Applicant is Craig Siganowski of Rem Engineering. The applicant seeks to reconfigure lots A and B so that lot B meets minimum lot area.
Good evening.
How are you?
Excuse me. Craig Siganowski of Rim Engineering, representing the owners, David and Christine Iadarola. They own lots A and B, shown on the plan, which is 67 Plain Street and 73 South Washington Street. And what they're looking to do, these lots were created in 1986. They have existing houses, so there's no new construction or buildable lots. They just want to transfer some land from 73 South Washington, which is Lot B, so that we have the minimum 80,000 square feet required. So we're taking a little bit more than 17,000 square feet from that Lot B and adding it to Lot A, excuse me, which is 67 Plain Street. So there's no change to frontage. There's no lots were created in 86 and they still conform to today's zoning. They have the 150 feet of frontage, minimum 80,000 square feet. There are no wetlands on this property, and they meet the access to their frontage. So just asking to approval to change the lot line.
Thank you, sir. I have no questions at this time. Anyone from the board have any questions? Tim?
Just to confirm, so right now there's 2 lots, one is conforming, one is non-conforming, and after this there'll be 2 that are conforming?
No, both lots are conforming. The minimum 80,000 square feet. Lot A has 98,000 or 97.5. They just, for whatever reason, they want to make that the minimum 80,000 square feet. Lot A is 108,000 square feet today. We're adding 17,000. So both lots are over the 80,000 required.
They're putting one closer to the line, closer to the 80,000 line. Got it.
Correct.
They meet our 2 standards of frontage and vital access. If there's no other questions from the board, the chair would entertain a motion.
Motion to endorse A&R 18. Second.
We have a motion by Tim to endorse A&R 18 and a second by Rob. We are all in person here tonight, so we can do a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're up again.
Yep.
Second item on the agenda is A&R 19 for 211 North Worcester Street. The owner of Lot 1 is Emily Tenglin. Lot 1A is Roger Tenglin. Lot 2 is Lisa Tenglin. Lot 2A is James Tenglin. The applicant seeks to combine 4 lots into 2 lots, and I hope I didn't pronounce that name wrong, but I might.
I believe that's correct. There are actually 3 of the 4 are in the audience tonight. Roger, James, and Lisa Tenglin. The only correction is my misunderstanding that the lots will remain in 4 separate ownerships at this time. But the way it worked was in 1998, the 2 front lots that have the houses, 211 and 213, were created by an A&R plan. Jack Walsh, Jack Vance did the plan, and the planning board at the time approved the lots. The 2 lots in the front were put in the names of Lisa and Emily Tenglin, and the remaining land in the rear was kept in the name of James and Roger. Owned it in common ownership together. At this time, they're looking to each sell their properties, so we surveyed the rear land and just divided that into two non-building lots. They have no frontage, and they are mostly wetlands. So we're not creating buildable lots. We're simply dividing the existing ownership in the rear. So 1 and 1A will be owned by husband and wife, and 2 and 2A are owned by the other husband and wife.
Very good. Rob, you have a question?
So just to make sure I understand, there is no plans for this land whatsoever? This is just,
It's wetlands. It's the Wading River runs through it.
yeah,
Probably 90% of it is wetlands. It's not buildable. So no, it's just they've owned it for as long as they've owned the front lots, and they're just looking to sell off their land.
Do we have any other questions from the board? So again, I believe we meet our two standards of access and frontage. If there's no other questions, the chair would entertain a motion.
motion to endorse.
Second.
We have a motion to endorse A&R 19 by Rob and a second by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
We can be tougher.
Next item on our agenda is public hearing for special permit 26 and site plan review 17 for 77 West Main Street. The owner applicant is Northtown Properties LLC. The applicant is seeking to construct at 77 West Main Street, a 3-story top-of-the-shop building with 18 residential units and a 7,320 square feet of commercial space and a 1,850 square foot retail space at 0 West Main Street. This was continued from our August 26th meeting. We had given the applicant a few things to add to the plans and review, and he has some updates for us. Good evening.
Good evening. Chair, if I may, as he's setting up,
Yes.
you had asked if there was any historical significance on the stone walls. So we did get an email earlier today. The Historical Commission met and voted that there weren't, it's not a historic structure. I also checked with Mass Historical Commission, and nothing was identified from them, by them on this site.
Sorry to send you down a rabbit hole, Paul.
Paul, did you see the thing I uploaded? Or?
I'm on it.
Okay, good.
I'm loading it right now.
Not quick.
No, I just making sure. Yeah. Rich Riccio from Field Engineering on behalf of Northtown Properties. I also have Chris Pernock here, one of the owners of the property. If you recall, at our last meeting, you sent us back with some homework assignments on the plans, and I'll just briefly go through the revisions that were made. We added snow storage areas to the plans. Also a set of notes on the plans, and also attached to our O&M plan for the site with regards to snow management operations. Due to its use, the site in the Water Resources District, the use of salt will be prohibited on the parking lots. We have a number of snow storage areas shown. There's also some notation that no snow shall be directed or dumped directly on the public right-of-way or directly into the wetlands, and any of the stormwater structures should be kept clear of snow after storm events. And then the final note was just with regards to if the areas do not have enough capacity to handle the snow on site, the owners would need to contract with somebody to remove it and dispose of it in a proper location. We also, on our layout plan, show a number of potential EV parking spaces, as well as an additional accessible EV space near the building. I don't know if you can scroll up on the plan a little bit. But this space here is the EV parking space, handicapped, and then we have 4 EV spaces here, and then an additional, I believe, 10. We need 14 spaces capable of being EV ready under the stretch code right now, the energy code. So that's what we got shown on the plan. We coordinate the final locations of those with fire department and building department as we move through process on that. And the third thing on the plans themselves is with regards to the landscaping. If you scroll to I think it's the second or third sheet in this set.
The last two show it, I
Yeah,
think.
there we go. We extended the row of juniper along the property line on the left-hand side to provide screening to the neighbor. We've also been in discussions with him as well with regards to construction operations and such when we get to the time of building this, to make sure his interests are protected during construction. We had a relationship with them when they bought the property as well, so we're familiar with the neighbors there. He had a question with regards to drainage in that low area, which we've provided an outlet for that drainage area to get back to the wetlands and keep that area usable for him. There was just some minor housekeeping items with regards to our narrative that was originally submitted, had mentioned a pilot in lieu of saving affordable units, which we resubmitted a updated narrative. We are going to save 2 of the residential units as affordable, as required under the regulations and for the special permit. As Paul had mentioned, we met with the Historical Commission today to discuss the walls, and they concurred that there was no significance to those existing stone walls on the property. And we are proposing to retain them and reuse as much of the existing stone as we can on site. The other comment was with regards to the license agreement to use the easement. I believe Chris has signed that, and that's going before the Board of Selectmen Thursday for their endorsement on that as well. And then over the weekend, we did receive the preliminary peer review / proposal from your traffic consultant, and I've reached out to him today to set up a call with him or a meeting just to go over exactly what else he would like to see before he can issue a formal report. I had mentioned I thought the understanding was that he was just reviewing our projections, but he did have a couple other questions and issues that he'd like us to potentially address, so we're going to work through that over the next couple of weeks. So tonight we wanted to present an update on everything and take any additional questions that the board may have, and with the understanding we still need to work through the traffic peer review.
I think you've pretty much covered all my questions for now that I had written down. Paul, the only one I just wrote down for you might have been, we've got multiple votes on this in the end. It's going to be a site plan review, a special permit for the Water Resource Protection District.
Let me go back. Special permit for affordable housing,
Special permit for affordable.
Water Resource Protection District, and the site plan for 3 or more attached units.
Do we need to do separate votes for the other building?
You could. I don't think you have to.
Okay.
Well, that building, I think just falls under site plan.
Would it be under water resource too?
Oh, it would. Sorry.
That's a good question. It is 2 addresses.
It's 2 addresses. I mean,
It can't hurt.
you could make the motion for both of them in one vote. I don't think that would be an issue.
As long as we would motion for
Right.
both addresses. We're getting ahead of ourselves because, as Rich said, this will not be closed tonight. It's going to be continued. We'll go to the members of the board. Any additional questions? Do we want to bring up the traffic peer reviewer's letter and just go over his comments, what he was concerned with?
Maybe we should touch base on this. I have it right here.
Yeah.
I don't know if they want to bring it up on the.
I think
I've got
Paul's
it.
working on it. Yeah. what I took from it was, I don't have all the information I want, but it looks like the numbers they used were higher than he would have pulled from a trip generator manual.
I thought
So that the applicant would be representing a higher number than, they're not lowballing the traffic in their estimates.
no, I got that.
And basically, because we don't know the exact use of the commercial space,
We
it's,
can't, yeah.
can't know the exact use. There's no tenants yet, so it's,
Basically what he's saying here.
So what the traffic peer reviewer was Jack Gillen with Gillen and Associates said in a nutshell was, because of the location across from the school and the size of this, he felt that there was more detail needed for this project. Not a full-blown traffic study, but there was more information that he would like to see. He called out. So we met, Rich and I and Chris met earlier today to talk about this, and I'm coordinating with them and Jack for Jack to just say what's acceptable to you. It's a peer review, it's an independent review, but I think it's just good for the applicant to work with the peer reviewer to figure out what information the peer reviewer really needs here.
go to members of the board. Any other members of the board have any questions, comments, concerns?
On the site plan, how many EV spaces did you say were required?
For this type of use, the stretch code requires 20% of the spaces to be
Yeah.
EV capable.
Yeah.
Not necessarily you need chargers at every one of them at this point, but we do got to bring the conduit and risers up at the time. We're proposing to have 5 right now. It's driven by the use within the building, the residential use and the retail use.
What jumped out at me is I thought during the presentation you said 14 or something like that.
Yeah, 20% of 70 spaces roughly.
Okay, and I only counted 12. That was,
I might have missed a couple, but it would be 14. There's
I'm talking about the ones that said EV in them. There's 8 and
12, 13. I would need to add one more.
Okay.
I did them on pairs along the back side. And
Any other questions from the members of the board?
Yeah, if we're not going to vote tonight and this is getting further, I'm good.
And you're still open with Concom? You have to go back to COMCOM with these updated plans anyway?
we were at the commission last night. They have no further issues on the plans with regards to the Wetlands Protection Act and stormwater. They're still a little bit hung up on the easement and what their rights are or what they need to do under Article 97, which is the protection of open space on the easement itself. We received, well, the town manager had received information from town council that the license agreement would be sufficient, followed up with a permanent easement over this property that would be granted to the owners. One of the members of the commission wasn't satisfied with that, has a sufficient response. She wanted something more detailed and in writing, so we have continued that. We're going to look into the options for that portion. The purposes of using that easement, as we mentioned at the previous meeting, was to minimize the number of curb cuts onto West Main Street, and actually would end up being a benefit to the town and the potentially open up more use of that park with a more defined easement and a defined driveway, which right now, as it was stated at the commission last night, there's really no access or use of that park right now. So it's a benefit to the town to grant it. The town meeting granted the easement, or granted the Board of Selectmen the ability to grant the easement.
Right.
So it's more of just going through some of the legal documentation and getting that all stuff worked out. But technically wise, site plan review wise, with regards to the Conservation Commission, the stormwater was signed off by their peer review, and they are in agreement that we meet the performance standards of Wetlands Protection Act.
And I can confirm what Rich is saying. I've been working a lot with Conservation Director John Thomas
By the time we continue this, however, you'll be probably squared away with Concom. That license agreement will be signed. That's this week anyway.
Yes,
That'll be signed,
yeah.
and those Ts will be crossed, Is will be dotted by the time you get back to us, it sounds like.
Yeah, we would, if you meet again in a couple of weeks, we'd like to be on, if possible, continue to that meeting. That way, it gives us a week and a half to work with the traffic consultant and make sure we got, and if it takes longer, we can always request a further continuance.
I'm going to go to members of the public in a minute. When's the next September meeting? I don't have it written down in front of me. I heard 28th and 23rd.
23rd.
23rd. So it'd be either September 23rd or October 7th when we continue it, if you want to think about it for a minute. Any members of the public, either in person or online, that wish to speak, look for in the Zoom if there's any hands raised. I do not see any. I don't see anyone, members of the public, running up to the podium. Tim?
I was going to make a comment. Just I think this is just for the board. I think that we have special permits here for affordable housing and wetlands, right?
Water resource.
Water resource. And I think we may only have 5 voting members, and we'll need all 5 for a special permit approval for the supermajority. So I think if we have any questions for the applicant on those 2 special permits, I think we should ask the applicant now.
That's a great point because
Steve has missed 2.
Steve's missed 2, so he can't, and
Yeah.
we're waiting on something from
Yeah.
him.
But if we were going to plan to vote next meeting, I think we might only have 5 voting members.
We would all
So-
need to be affirmative for this to pass.
Correct.
Understood. On our end, that's understood.
Any other questions for the board at this time? So September 23rd,
That works for us, yes. We'll be here on the 22nd and the 23rd. That works for us.
2 days in a row again.
Yep.
I would love a motion to continue special permit 26 and site plan review 17 for 77 West Main Street to September 23rd.
Second.
We have a motion by Rob and a second by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
All right, thank you.
Couple weeks. Thank you.
Sure.
Next item on our agenda is a public hearing for the upcoming town meeting warrant. We have a discussion and possible vote, however, I do not believe we'll be voting tonight to amend the Norton zoning bylaw, Chapter 175B, restructuring the organization as well as making substantive text amendments that may include insertions, deletions, and renumbering to the entire zoning bylaw as listed in the agenda. Paul, you want to kick off with our presentation? I know we have a member here in the
Yeah,
audience
I-
that wishes to speak, but I think we'll have a couple things to get to before Mr. Jacoby comes up.
Right, yeah. But with Eric's help, this is a lot more impactful and
Sure. We're also going to be joined by the chairman of the ZBA, Tom Noel. The ZBA had noticed,
I'm not seeing this on the screen, Paul.
I haven't put it up there.
Okay.
the ZBA noticed a hearing in case the entire board showed up tonight, but
Nick's on here too.
Mr. Noel is kind enough to join us as the ZBA has been providing input also on this. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I understand there's another member remotely. Brian, did you see,
Yes, Nick Ferguson, he's a new member.
is he
He's
there?
in the,
Okay, I can't see the full screen, but
Yes.
thank you.
He's online. Do you have to open your meeting or?
No,
There's two of
there's
you?
not
There's
a
only-
quorum,
there's only-
so I'll just be here as a representative of the zoning board. Thank you for allowing me to
Feel free to
sit
chime
in a
in.
more comfortable chair.
Chime in anytime you want, please. Thank you.
we just got Steve in.
Steve's on too.
Steve just came in, yeah, Warshall.
Oh,
Okay. Well, Steve is joining
Okay.
us remotely.
Steve, can you hear us? He's not saying anything. We're not taking any votes right now, but he is online, and make your presence known, Steve, if you wish. So Paul, do you want to walk through this PowerPoint that
Sure.
you've been working on mainly with Eric?
Right. So this is a couple things on this. This is, I think of it as an iterative presentation. Hopefully this will, my thought was whatever works here, this could be the presentation that is made at town meeting and certainly at your next meetings. I'm still working to try to get that joint meeting set. So nothing confirmed yet, but it's on the town manager's radar to get that set up. So I'm just going to go through a series of slides that just talk in general about this bylaw effort itself and just clarify what it is, what it isn't. And really, we're creating a bylaw that it's a lot more custom made to Norton. So first, I just wanted to start with public outreach. Today is your 6th public hearing on the 2.0 of the bylaw update. Of course, you had 15 public hearings prior to the Springtown meeting. Of course, ZBA was actively involved with that. While we haven't had the attendance we would love to have had, you have made changes based on the public comments we have received. And those are reflected in the current version of the draft. So you're listening and taking note of it and actually making changes. We've done a lot of socializing of these public hearings. We've been on Facebook, Nextdoor, we've emailed people, we posted on planning board agendas. I will say, the challenge of this is, the equivalent of, trying to really promote your car owner's manual. You're probably not going to that book signing either. This is just not something that naturally draws a big crowd out. It's very technical, it's important, and we've had right people working on it. Again, we would like to have more people, but it's tough to draw that to people. I'm planning on doing an upcoming event. I haven't put the details together on it. I just want to do something informal, like I did before the MBTA meeting. And if all goes well tonight, we'll just do the start of an informational video. I was just thinking I would record it. Now, the Norton Media Center does have an AI ability. I just think it's important to put a person's face to it, even if it's this one.
It could be a detriment, but okay.
It probably is, but
I'm gonna say it's better than the creepy AI video they did, that other one.
I can get pretty creepy, but
Yeah,
but I think it's important that we have a face to it.
a real human face.
A human, yeah, with all its imperfections. So, how did we even get here? How did we even launch this? Well, this actually was envisioned in our master plan. We have a few actions listed there that talked about the need to make revisions to the bylaw. There's more actions in here, but these are the 3 that really kind of hit on what we have, including 1.16, which talked about doing this big code diagnosis and then making the changes and bringing those changes to town meeting. So we've heard people wanting to support the master plan. Well, that's what this is. This is implementing those changes, those actions. So the purpose of this bylaw update, there's a few things with it, but it's to improve the usability of it, the consistency, and the legal defensibility. But those of us, both in planning, the ZBA, I see Ed Bailey's here, we know how complicated the current bylaw is. It is just clumsy to use. Things are scattered throughout. There's how many times, Ed, since you've been here, we go, what did this mean? Or this is in conflict with that. And so this is an effort that you've been working on to try to correct all of those issues and address these issues that are commonly experienced by the planning board and the ZBA. And there's really 2 major benefits overall of what you're doing, which is you're providing more control over development and you're getting more tools to improve the projects compared to what we have now. So the bylaw reorganization, right now we have 23 articles that are scattered all over, and we're putting them into 11 logically organized groups, and I'll show that in just a second. And just as an example, we have definitions right now scattered throughout the plan. You might go to the definition section. That might not be where you need to go to find a definition. Well, now we've moved all the definitions under one area. And I would be remiss to point out that, of course, you worked for a year or more with Mark Bobrowski, one of the most renowned land use attorneys, who has worked with numerous municipalities to update their bylaws. This is just an example of the restructuring. All of these highlighted or with arrows are special districts or overlay districts, and they're scattered all about. Article 5 is a long ways from Article 23, and yet they're effectively a special district, you know, and now they're moved into one section, under one section. So it'll be just a lot easier for everyone to find this stuff and not go, oh, that should have been, you know, where was that? It's located somewhere. So this does a great job of just putting things in a much more organized fashion. So there are a number of benefits that this does. And I will say, for the most part, you're tightening up the regulations, but there are some areas where you had to make it make development more permissive. But that was all required by recent changes by into Mass General Law in the state's effort to promote more housing. One was they require accessory dwelling units to comply, to be by right. We actually did that, but we had to make some changes. There's also a provision that if you have a lot that's a legally created lot that was 10,000 square feet and 75 feet of frontage that's under common ownership, you could build up to 1,850 square feet, whereas right now the bylaw doesn't allow it, but that's in the state statute now, so it's in effect. So we're just complying with that. Mr. Bobrowski pointed out our restriction on citing adult-oriented uses might have violated some case law. So he recommended reducing the distance from 1,000 to 500 feet in all non-industrial districts and other adult entertainment districts. And then he also recommended doing away with that provision under our affordable housing provision that says if you create 6 or more lots, 10% of those lots have to be affordable. The other provisions are still in effect. Actually, again, a big benefit is more local control. We're adding performance standards, which we don't currently have. And those will help enhance and improve the quality of the development. We're actually adding conditions for special permits. Currently, the conditions are tied in the bylaw to site planning. We've been doing this, but this helps make that clear. We're also proposing to convert the design guidelines that are in the village commercial zoning district to make them into design standards, which are enforceable. And then it also it gives in many more examples now where the planning board could issue waivers to certain sections rather than having to send an applicant to the ZBA to try to get a determination, which, having been with the ZBA, it can be a challenge when you have a large project like Blue Star Business Park and they have to go to the ZBA for a variance. They don't get the benefit of seeing the overall picture. And overall, the more standards we define, the more standards we can control. And the same is true with uses. We've expanded, but we've also tightened the use regulations. And if we can identify a use, we can regulate it. So for example, we've added new uses that were missing, such as health club and breweries. We've established more standards for sensitive uses like adult entertainment and senior housing, which we will talk a bit more about senior housing when we get there. And then currently, when it comes to zoning uses that are exempt from special permits, also called the Dover Amendment, historically speaking, we have just said we can issue a building permit for that, but at least working with Mark, we've tightened that up to at least present a use like that to the planning board through the site plan approval process. We've also created standards for reasonable accommodations for people with disabilities. That would go through the ZBA. We provided more guidance for accessory uses. You've also made recommendations for more restrictions on multifamily in R40 zoning, limiting the number of units there. Oh, sorry, sure. Oh, okay. Sure, sorry about that. Another benefit, it's improved clarity and efficiency. As I was mentioning earlier, conversations I've had with Ed and with other folks, this can be a very challenging bylaw to work with. It's also a challenge right now because it doesn't clearly lay out a lot of the processes for applications. Well, this does now. This proposal now lays out a clear process of what has to be filed, what board it clearly goes to. It does a great job of really distinguishing between the roles of planning board and the ZBA. It also, reduces the contradictions and the vagueness of some of the things in here. We also clarified development rights for split zone parcels. We didn't have that clearly laid out, but we do now. And then, well, as Peg is here, any permit that's going to planning board or ZBA that's within the historic district has to go to the historic district commission. They have to file with them before they file the application with one of our boards. So it's setting up a clearer process. So just real quick here, again, we had to make changes to the ADUs pursuant to the law. We currently do allow them by right if they're attached, but the state law says detached has to be allowed as well. Our bylaw says you can't exceed 750 square feet for the ADU. The state bylaw says, well, it's 50% of the principal building or 900 square feet, whichever smaller. So you could see a case where an ADU is bigger than what we currently allow. We do currently require the owner to occupy one of the two dwellings, but the state statute removed that requirement for ownership. So the owner doesn't have to reside in either of them. The other more significant changes, we require right now one parking space per bedroom, but the state law has been changed to one parking space per unit. But we also now, we make it clear that no short-term rentals of ADUs will be allowed. I'm getting there. So we currently have a number of standards for approving special permits, and Mark restated some of those, but I want to point out three that are new. One is the potential fiscal impacts on town services and tax base. And as we recall from the discussions on MBTA zoning, that's a big issue. So now we're addressing that. You have historically reviewed things, projects for traffic flow and safety and adequacy of utilities, but it wasn't in the bylaw for condition of approval like it is now. And these are critical aspects of any development. So, as I mentioned earlier, special permits do not currently have conditions with them alone unless it's tied to a site plan. Now that's changed. Those conditions are laid out for any special permit that comes along. And it gives you different authorities that, such as for landscaping and buffering and a whole host of other things. Performance standards were added, such as noise, which we're mirroring what's in the state statute. But also, we're adding fiscal performance standards and site development standards, along with all these others that we have, but we're scattered all throughout our current plan. Now they're in one place. So people, the public, and everyone could see what those standards are and not have to dig into 5 different places for it. We did expand the table of general uses from 4 to 11 categories, but it helps to group similar uses, especially as we added some uses to the use table and definitions. And many of those uses, as we know from our discussions late at night on definitions, we made sure that they aligned with Mass General Law. And that concludes my presentation. Chair, do you want me to just start going into the bylaw itself now?
Sure. I was gonna, Paul and I were talking before, and one thing we're thinking about adding to this is maybe breaking out somehow specifically all the residential impacts. Since obviously town meeting is gonna be 100% residents, I think we should show easily somehow everything we've changed as concisely as possible to the residents, so we can take a lot of the commercial out of it, and we can say, your residents, this is the specifics of what we're changing, this is what we have now, this is what we're proposing. And I think maybe in this presentation is the right spot to do it. Unless anyone else has a better
No, 100%.
idea, question, or...
I think we absolutely have to do that.
Yeah, I'll just create let me just add a quick slide here. And it's crude, but it's a placeholder for me.
And Paul, I've got a few other notes I just made, but I'll go over with you another time.
Okay. So we can,
Say if we have notes or suggestions, how do you want us to share those? Just to you, Paul?
oh, sure, emailing me would be great.
I don't have big ones.
Eric's been also working with Paul on this mainly.
Very,
you,
very
Eric.
important work.
Really well
It
done.
was much, it's much better with his help.
So I think we can scan through this quickly tonight. I don't think we have to.
Yeah, and I'm glad Steve is on. Chair, I think if we go through the sections in order, and then when we get to section 8 is when we can talk about senior housing facilities.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Did you want to note Steve's notes, or do we want to do that another time?
I do
You
have them, and my
them.
apologies. Steve sent me some comments that I should have forwarded to you, but I do have them identified here. And so the first discussion we have is on the multifamily 4 units, up to 4 units. There had been a discussion whether we should do up to 6 and then not allow multifamily 6 or more units in village commercial. We had a conversation last week. Eric thought maybe we could go up to 6 units. I had raised a concern that if we don't go above, if we don't allow 6 or more units in village commercial, that's really capping it. But Steve had a comment I'll just read out, that for the issue of multifamily 4 or more, up to 4 units, I'd prefer to keep the number at 4 units because of the following reasons. A, it follows the tax difference where 4 or less units is at a residential rate and 5 or above is at a commercial rate. B, it converts easily to a single family B&B. And C, it follows the traditional Massachusetts triplex quadplex architectural style. He on the next item under the one for multifamily 5 or more units, Steve just said I'd be willing to do special permit instead of no for 5 or more units, but only in village commercial and absolutely not in residential.
So I don't know if everyone wants to vote on this tonight. We can do another straw poll on these 2 issues, or we can wait till our next meeting when Steve's here in person. There's only very few of these that we have outstanding that we really haven't voted on.
Alan, I am here online for any questions.
Wonderful, Steve. How are you?
I'm all right.
Very good. What's the pleasure of the board? We have these 2 outstanding items. We can take a straw poll. Do we want to leave under residential uses, number 3, multifamily dwellings as is? Or do we want to make an adjustment?
I'm okay as this.
Steve, you want to chime in?
Yeah, like I said, I would definitely want to keep it 4 or under units for the residential zone. As far as the village commercial zone, if we'd like to do a special permit for more than 4 units, that's fine. We also have the alternative where we said if they build top of the shop or mixed-use development, they can do more than one building, and that would give them the extra units that they're looking for. That's just sort of putting the carrot on the end of the stick. I mean, whatever the board agrees is fine. My major concern is the residential zone.
So I'm kind of in line with Steve. I'd be fine with changing, right now, there's no to a planning board special permit for 5 or more.
That's pretty much what it was before then.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Well, I'm sorry, on the 5 or more under village commercial,
SP.
SP?
Yep.
Okay.
Tim?
Agreed.
Are we all good with that?
I can live with it.
Yes, no, maybe?
I'm fine putting it to pre-red line condition.
That's what we'd be doing. And then the multifamily dwelling up to 4 units, we're staying as we have it for planning board special permit for VC and, is it R80? I can't see. R40, sorry.
That's where I would like to keep it, yes.
I'm fine with that. If any other members of the board. Tom?
No, I have no problem with it, speaking only as an observer from the zoning board. I mean, the board hasn't looked at it. I have no problem with it, and it's explainable for, valid reasons.
I figured I'd put you on the spot.
You did.
Okay, so we'll leave it at up to 4 units.
Should that be PB, not SP?
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. Sorry, I'm using the old.
So that voice we have in the audience is our building inspector who's joining us tonight, Mr. Bailey. He's been working with Paul a lot on this. He's a fresh set of eyes on both of our bylaws. And my goal was to get him hopefully participating in town meeting also with us, since he is our zoning enforcement officer, and ultimately he's the one that deals with this every day and has to enforce all these bylaws.
The next one is, this was, as I'm going back through this, I highlighted hotel motel. We have it under residential, but should we move that under commercial retail uses? It's really not a residential use.
Line 10?
Line 11.
Line 11, sorry.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
It's just some redrawing for you.
I'm okay either way. To me, it's a place where people take residence, same as a bed and breakfast in a way, or any other commercial apartment building or senior housing facility might be commercial in nature. So I just kind of lumped it that way, but it's not crucial what category it's in.
We all fine with moving it to the commercial section?
Yeah.
Okay, and I know there is a proposed recommendation about senior housing.
Paul, before we go beyond it, could we address the recreational vehicle category?
Go ahead, Steve.
Again, we kind of talked about it, about where people can put RVs for how long, and we agreed that would be for RVs that are being used 30 days or more. Is this only as a primary use, or if somebody has their own house and has an RV in their yard, how do we regulate that? I would not want to regulate somebody from using an RV in their own yard.
I think the definition, Steve, talks about it like being used as a residence for more than 30 days consecutively, and then they would need a permit. So just like storing it for the winter is nothing.
Okay, so again, if somebody has their house, they have an RV parked on the side, and family comes for the summer, 2-3 months, that would not need a permit.
If family comes for the whole summer, under the way it's written now, they would. If they're coming up for 2 weeks over Christmas like Cousin Eddie, then they would not.
See, that's where I have a problem with it. The idea that somebody couldn't be in my yard with all the facilities available. And they have kitchen, bathroom, everything available in a common space. Accessory dwelling is used, that's allowed by right. This is essentially behaving almost as an accessory dwelling. So would this only count if somebody had a piece of land with no house on it and they were using the recreational vehicle as the primary use?
Mr. Bailey, you want to chime in on this? I know you've been involved with this section. Thank you.
So currently we have no bylaw for it, so technically anyone living in an RV as an accessory, etc., would not be allowed at all. This was more to give someone the opportunity to come visit for an extended but not a permanent type stay. And most of this is going to fall back towards like a septic style. Where are they getting rid of the waste from this RV?
Is there any health department implications that would get involved any way somehow?
They don't really have a bylaw for it other than they're kind of against it in total. So this was taken from a few other towns I've worked in where they did allow it on a short-term basis. So again, somebody comes to visit, they park, they stay, they move on. But it is not meant to be an ADU. It does not meet any sort of building or housing code. It should not be a permanence, just a invite and a way to help regulate something that right now, again, would not be allowed as it sits.
Paul, do you want
Would
to jump to the
it be-
definition just so we could?
So would it be feasible to also include a recreational vehicle as an accessory use and make that allowed?
It's feasible to do anything you
considering
guys
if there's
like at this
property
point.
that already has a fully functioning house on it, plumbing, kitchen. Then
Right, but the RV does not
itself
have
is not causing
fully functioning
like
waste
a problem.
systems, which is the caveat to this whole thing. So where are these folks getting rid of their waste after they've been there for 3, 4, 5 weeks?
Did you say a month is about the amount of time that thing can exist self-contained?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Are you saying that a month is probably about the longest amount of time that unit can sit there as a self-contained thing? Before
think
we're
a
having to
month-
start to,
A month gives you a good average amount of time to kind of make your visit. There may still be implications with this as far as talking with the health department or figuring out some sort of either
Yeah.
pumping schedule. Do you drive over to Canoe River? Again, we can't regulate how many people would stay in said RV, which is going to be the limiting factor for how long that will allow.
yep.
So this was just to kind of set a standard so we had something to go by.
And some of the ones that go more than a month would be able to just, they just have to come get a permit. for it.
Correct. They would come get a permit, and I would assume at that point, once they come in front of you, the
We could ask
waste,
the right
the
questions.
utility hookups would be the tantamount to the questioning.
It wouldn't be allowed just to empty into your septic system.
Correct.
If you can get permission from the health department, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what the regulation would be. The downside to that is how enforceable is it? Somebody pops the top and starts emptying. Without seeing it, we really can't stop it or enforce it, unfortunately, but
So we're again, rightfully, we're basing this on septic and waste management. If somebody parked an RV at a house that has a functioning bathroom, they don't have to use the RV's bathroom. They might be using the regular bathroom, negating the effect of waste.
true. You can certainly
Might.
set that as a standard, but I don't know who's going to check on that every
Yeah.
time.
You said might. They might be.
Well, I have a bathroom, but I can still pee in the yard.
Yeah.
It's true,
It's your call.
but I'll bet your neighbors don't like that either.
I'm looking at this more as it just gives residents more flexibility to do this. As of right now, as you said, there's no flexibility It's a no.
Right
you
now,
don't
it would
allow
be just an absolute no.
Correct.
This
We're
this
look-
is just trying to give them, like you said,
We're not trying to restrict it. We're trying to make it more reasonable and easier to do and more options.
correct.
Yeah, no, we're not tightening anything.
No,
So,
absolutely not.
This is loosening if at best.
In my opinion, 30 days seems actually like a good threshold for that. We're giving the flexibility. If someone wants to do something more, they do have to allow people to.
And it gives the family a good reason to say, you know, it's time to
I
time
gotta
to
be
pull
honest,
back out.
30 days, I love my family, but 30 days out, I'd be like, hey, I'm sorry, guys, it's not me, it's the bylaw.
And then under the special permit, we would be able to say, they would be able to ask, all right, it's 3 months we want whatever time frame would be specified in the special permit application.
Yeah, and I would
Theoretically.
imagine at that point there's probably some extenuating circumstances that come into play on that.
Correct.
I mean,
And we're going to do what we can to help.
I have no objection to how it's written per se. I think it makes sense. I think it
I agree.
addresses a need that we have. I think it loosens a law. I'm not sure what else to change it to. We change it to 60 days or more. I mean, we could do several things to change it. I think special permit's fine, in my opinion.
I'm in support of it. The intent is good.
Any other members of the board
No.
while we're on this?
I don't see us getting bombed with requests to review things anyways, generally.
Thanks, Rob, for jinxing that.
Says the person who hasn't multiple special permits for chicken coops.
No, I don't. I had one parrot, and he was very territorial. There were no other birds allowed.
I was saying that
Thank you, Mr. Bailey.
No.
So I'm back up to the text. I did find a couple of places where uses dropped off somewhere and lost in translation, but golf course didn't make it into this. But I just copied it from as is from the existing bylaw and put it under recreational uses.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Busy special permit, yeah.
Okay, so
I think 3 is probably enough anyway for
For the town?
yeah.
So self-storage facilities, we've combined it with warehouse, storage, and distribution. I think at our last meeting, we said, let's just not allow this in village commercial.
Correct.
But it was a no, but bring it back for reconsideration.
I think that was because Steve also wasn't at the last meeting. Steve, I don't believe, got to chime in on that as we change that from a planning board special permit to a no.
Yeah, my thoughts on it was essentially our village commercial is supposed to be sort of a Main Street vibe, walkable, pedestrian oriented. And most people don't want the frontage or the main building just being a warehouse. And we already allow plenty of room in the commercial or industrial zone.
So you're in favor of changing from PB to no?
That's my intention, yes.
Okay. I'm good with it.
Seems like we're all good with it, Paul, if you want to move on.
Okay.
And for anybody watching, we've left these comments open in the document so that any open comment is something that we've highlighted to come back to. And that's what we're scrolling through.
Another one that didn't make its way was auto body repair, paint, welding shop. I just pulled it exactly as it is and put it under industrial uses.
Didn't we have a motor vehicle use? Wasn't that, did we have a motor vehicle category?
We do. When I looked at it,
I believe the difference in that is supposed to be a vehicle repair shop as opposed to a factory making
Yeah.
vehicles or on a scale.
yeah, I mean, there's right, exactly. We can hold on that one, but I don't view like a
If you
welding
wanted,
shop to be the same as a vehicle repair shop.
Do you want to just drop it into section G so we can look at them all together? Not that we need to rule on it
What,
in the next 5 minutes.
what
but,
if a guy is doing repairs at his garage? I'm talking about something low level there. See,
Yeah, I'm thinking of like, I'm looking at this like a Mako or something like that.
yeah. Well, yeah.
And
no, I
they may
agree
not
with
be
that.
doing a whole lot of frame welding, but somebody could. That would be auto repair.
Yeah.
But
I think he's left the area over the Cisco trucks, but there was a guy right up the street from me that for a while that house did have a body shop actually running out of the garage.
I can just leave it there.
yeah, it looks like it's
If we
a,
could,
the
we
only,
did have a category that said service and repair shops, including automotive repair, if it's done in a garage. We had that category. I was arguing for it.
yeah. So the difference between this and motor vehicle repair shop is just the how it's treated in, is that commercial is the second from the right?
Sort of. I guess the difference is that we're saying it's a automotive repair shop instead of just a general repair shop. The idea of a repair and service shop could be like Mr. Marson does upholstery. Maybe he has a car come in to do the seats.
Right, but this is auto
This is auto body repair,
Auto-
which is a completely different class
Right.
of
Yeah.
repairs. You get much more implications with the EPA and noise and
Right.
So
Smells.
smells and completely different.
I would add it. I would
I'm fine with adding it. I don't,
get here.
I don't know how much soldering is going on now on cars. There may be very little, but we can keep it in there.
Yeah, I'm fine with keeping it in the industrial category as it was.
I mean, I just pulled it directly as is. We could remove the term. But
why don't we just leave it? If you want to just leave that as a,
It's one less thing we changed if we leave it as is.
yeah. Yeah.
okay.
I just wonder if we're going to get into questions about what falls into 3 versus 8.
Yeah, well, again, a
So-
repair shop would be
It seems like
your
an easy
transmission
continuum.
needs repair. The auto body repair is you got into an accident.
Yeah. So I could see people saying I'm a motor vehicle repair shop. The fact that I know how to use that I have a welding gun in here doesn't mean I'm going to be welding all the time. So that's but I see the continuum, but I could see people arguing about it. So just flagging that from a,
No, because there are a couple people in town that do say, I fix cars at my place. You know, they're doing it as a business.
yeah.
We're not limiting to someone with an automotive repair shop either from welding.
No.
No.
Okay. I'm just making sure we're not shutting those people down. I feel like that should be okay.
I think it's fine.
Okay.
So in motor vehicle repair shop, it does say, a motor vehicle auto body or paint shop shall be regarded as a motor vehicle repair shop.
Definition.
That may need some sort of definition to differentiate the two, as they do run very close together. That could lead to a lot of confusion later on, as we're talking now that one is bigger and more Mako style than just a quick batch, but
Yeah. That's
the next
kind of,
interpretation could be totally different.
So Paul will have to work on coming up with a definition for number 8. Come up for a definition
Yeah, we
for
do.
auto body repair shop.
Okay.
It has to be defined better.
Okay.
We were doing so good checking things off the list and not adding.
Yeah, I know. Stop it.
That's fine. That's what you're here for. Thank you.
Okay, so the next one, I think this was another one. With Steve not here at the last meeting, we wanted to make sure he had a say on it. But I think where we landed on neighborhood shop was that we would bring it back as part of a future bylaw change. I mean, there's a lot of good things that we could do with this for neighborhood stores, but at this point, it's probably better just to do it at a future update.
It needs more substance to it. Then we're gonna.
Needs a few more things added to it, but yeah.
I'm comfortable doing this as a solo initiative in the future.
So moved.
Second, that's what you need. That's moving on.
Okay, so I think now, why don't we start talking about senior housing facilities? And we did receive an email yesterday from Jack Jacoby, who's a representative, is a local attorney, and we've been corresponding on a particular project, and I mentioned to him that we're working on senior housing bylaw update as part of the overall update. So they've reviewed this and have some recommendations that was sent to you yesterday.
Good evening, Jack Jacoby, 144 Bank Street. My law firm is Coogan Smith. First of all, I want to commend you for the amount of work that you've put into this. I know this is not easy, and I also, from other times that I've been in front of this board and other boards, I think that your current bylaw had a few defects, and I can see how you're acting to cure those defects, and I commend you for that. There were definitional sections especially that were missing or were unclear, and so I think you've done a great job. So let me just say that I represent the Daggett Crandall Newcomb home. Jeremy Vieira from Rogerson, which partners with Daggett Crandall, is here. And we have been planning for over a year to try to redo the Daggett Crandall home. I don't know if you have the plan that was attached to the email, but we have been looking at creating what we call a continuous care community, if I use the term correctly. So that would be a community that would have some cottages for people who are living independently, some apartments for people who are living independently, the Daggett Crandall home redone so that it would be an assisted living facility, and then have a memory care unit. So you could, in essence, graduate as you aged without leaving your community. And as the bylaw currently stands, there is no permit we could apply for to even ask you to consider it. There is nothing that would allow us to go to the planning board or the zoning board. So one of our colleagues wrote a letter, and also we did some proposed editing. And so let me just be clear for those who are watching and for the board that if you were to endorse the changes we're asking for, it doesn't mean you're endorsing this project. It would just give us the ability to apply for it and have you consider it on its merits. And that's really what we're asking for this evening. So, Paul, did you want me to go through what's there? So the first thing we noticed was that in section 5, it talks about the town's residential character. Our suggestion is you should make it the New England character, which I think is closer to what I think you were trying to get at. You could also make it a New England residential character, but I think the words New England would be helpful to give people some guidance as to what you were looking for. The second thing is that in number 7, you now say that it's limited to Norton residents, and I think that is problematical from a legal standpoint. I don't think you intended to say that someone couldn't move into town to be in one of these facilities. I think that your intent is to create a facility that will attract people who may be coming from neighboring towns that don't have a facility like this. So our suggestion is that you say including Norton residents here. The next thing that we tried to do in 8.3.3 was to make it clear that this is one-stop shopping, so that you, as the planning board, granting the special permit, would encompass all of the other typical regulations that it would come under. I heard you talking about that earlier with the question of a large project having to go to both the ZBA and to the planning board. We suggest that you adopt this language so that it incorporates site plan approval, earth removal, water resource, wetland protection. Not all of those apply to the project my client wants to do, but we tried to make this broad enough so that you would end up with the one-stop shopping that I think you were looking for. We also made it clear, we think in 834, number 1, that the minimum lot size would either be what the district requires or 80,000 square feet, and added some language. We also gave you, in number 2, the ability to grant a waiver for building height if you felt it was appropriate. Obviously, you're not going to grant a 50-foot tall building that's right up near some neighbors or there or elsewhere, but the 35-foot restriction that you have now seemed to be difficult for an apartment-style building or for the assisted living facility. We also made clear some language on building setbacks from residential dwellings we left. The minimum lot frontage, we did some language on that. We also tweaked a little bit some of your language on common open space, access and overall circulation, accessory uses, and made clear that the special permit procedures would apply. We also made clear that the housing under 837, the affordable housing, would apply to this, but it would apply to the independent living residences, not to the Daggett Crandall Newcomb home itself, because there's no way that you could have an assisted living facility with any kind of an affordability requirement. Or the memory care unit. And we added some things on the definition sections, but the biggest thing that we did here and that we're asking you to consider, and the reason that we could not apply for what we intend to do, is that in the R80 district, you can only have one building on a lot. And we actually have 93 acres here, and we're proposing to leave about 2/3 of it untouched and only develop on a third. But we couldn't possibly create the community that we want to create if we were restricted to one building per lot. So that is a significant change, other than the wording changes that we've proposed here. And so we ask your consideration in allowing us to be able to at least put this before you at some time in the future. And there is the plan up on the screen I can see now. So as you can see, Paul, if you can scroll up a little bit, I think. No, the other direction. I'm trying to see. Yeah, so if you see down there at the bottom, you see the independent living units on the right side. You'll see them on the left side. Those are all cottages. And then you'll see a building which has 3 wings and a center spine. And that would be where the apartments would be located, where the assisted living would be located, where the memory care would be located. And so we could not possibly build what we're proposing to build as your bylaw is written. We found out last week that you were proposing a senior housing section, and we were very intrigued by that. And we're just hoping that you can find your way clear to recommend to town meeting that you at least allow us to apply for a project of this nature. Senior housing is, well, all housing is important. We all know there's a shortage. But I think that I'm old now, and at some point I'll need to go to a place like this. And I think that there's going to be a great need in this area for such a community. So I'll answer any questions you may have.
I really don't
I
have
got a
any.
few.
I'll give you one sec, Steve. We just got this obviously recently, so we haven't, I doubt anyone's had any chance to.
Oh, I fully
Digest it.
understand. We only found out about this on Thursday, so
Well, bravo
all
for,
kindly let us know. So we worked very hard on a short time frame to get you some language we thought would be appropriate.
I have a few aspects of it I don't like, just such as the one-stop shopping language. I'm not sure about the multiple buildings on one lot. I really have to consider that. My biggest problem with this is that it is being tied to a project, and I don't think we can put this in here right now the way we're presenting it and the way you're presenting it. I think it just leaves us up to way too much negative feedback as we're taking this opportunity of this bylaw rewrite, which is already somewhat
Testing.
hard to deal with the public perception. And now I think this just opens us up to, we have an applicant that we're looking to cater to. I can't, since I've read this, I can't get that out of my mind.
Can I address that?
You can, but I don't think you're going to change it. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth that if you would have not put there's plans attached to this showing a project, we mentioned a property multiple times. It just doesn't sit right with me at this time. The way it's, not that anything out of your language we couldn't probably work with. It's probably all needed, valid. We probably messed up. It probably needs to be changed. Just tying it to a project right now seems we're leaving ourselves wide open to way too much criticism.
So let me just say that we did our best to draw this as broadly as possible and not tie it to our project.
I understand,
And
but you did.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. There's a reason that
Yeah.
we're asking for this,
100%.
and I don't want anybody to say, you know, you
And I'm
came
not saying
here,
I'm
you
against
came
it.
here with an altruistic reason. Of course, we want to propose a project. We don't know whether it would ever be approved, whether it would be modified or
100%.
denied. We don't know that. But what I do want you to know is that with the one building allowed on an 80,000 square foot lot, that a project like this could not possibly occur. And so we're hoping that you would say, you know, you've written this so broadly that any kind of a senior housing project could come in and you'd consider every one of them on the merits rather than, again, we were as broad as we possibly could think of being.
No, I 100% agree. I agree with you being broad. I agree with most of your statements. I'm saying I'm one member. That's it. Obviously, no one else has spoken. It just leaves an uneasy feeling with me that we are tying it to a project. Not that it's a bad project at all. I agree it's needed. 100%. It sounds like a fantastic concept. That's just my, and like I said, we just started reading it too. That's just my initial gut feeling on it.
I had that exact same feeling this afternoon when I was reading it. It's like, this is about changing our bylaws over a project. It did feel that way to me. You know, there was nothing you were asking for that I wouldn't, if there was, as long as, you know, I'm catching what you're saying about you can't even come and ask our permission on it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we might want to address that because there's nothing you're asking for I wouldn't be willing to consider. So us being blocked from even being able to consider whether or not to give it to you, I think is something we could listen to. But I would rather just put choice in our hands, whereas changing our bylaws to say that's permissible seems a bit much.
Tim, then Steve.
All right, could I, yeah, if I can chime in.
Steve, go ahead.
Again, with everything Alan just said is 100% I agree with. It definitely feels like it's for one project in a way. I do understand that it goes beyond this, and that's also a concern of mine, where if we change the rules for this idea, then the entire town is susceptible to this type of building. Earlier this year, earlier in this project, I had recommended that we put cluster developments and senior housing developments into their own overlay district, so that way the town could approve of areas for this type of development. Going forward right now, if we didn't edit any of this and this bylaw change passed, you could apply to be village commercial, and then you'd have all the ability to build what this is. You'd have the mixed-use developments available, cluster development available, senior housing available. It would all be available to you if you went to town and asked for a zoning change. And then the residents would be approving of that. The other thing is that, although some people find them acceptable, the amount of cluster developments that have been proposed in the last 20 years is, in my mind, almost abusing the town. It's a lot. We have a lot of development going on. And secondly, we just recently had what was a senior housing development approved in, I think, the 90s, that the select board said could be just not senior housing a long time ago. And that became just a cluster development where it wasn't supposed to. So I could see this being built, apartments, townhouses, condos, and then whoever owns it decides to go to the select board and remove the senior housing aspect. Because we've been proven that that can be done. So then we could just have an apartment building. We'd have a whole new neighborhood that's not senior housing. I would like to, in my mind, I would like senior housing and cluster developments to be in their own overlay so that the town can approve where these large things are built. Beyond that, just looking at the language, the building height exception, to go from 35 feet to 50 feet just for senior housing is not maintaining the character of the neighborhood that you're building in. That would be something more along the lines. Again, if you went to village commercial, you'd have your 45 feet. And that would be approved. So it does seem like we're making quite a big exception to the neighborhood. The mixed-use buildings, if you're in village commercial, makes sense. But the idea in the residential zone to have a huge cluster of different buildings and apartments and whatever, it does not fit the criteria. There is a reason for our standards, and the residential zone should remain small, peaceful, and residential unless otherwise approved by the town as a whole.
Tim, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I had a couple of things that I was just gonna touch on. The affordable housing comment, Paul, I understand the question they had about what should it apply to. What does the state count against us for, like a facility like the one on Mansfield Avenue? Does that count against our housing quota for the state for affordable housing?
The Norton Links, that
195 Mansfield?
195, the one next
I
to
don't
the
know
McDonald's?
address. Yeah, across the street. Yeah, no, across the street. The
Warehouse or
the memory care or
It's also from Dunkin'
Oh,
Donuts.
as it applies to the affordable housing?
Correct.
It doesn't.
Okay.
It does not.
So in that case, so the treatment there makes sense.
Right. Well, that's a combination too of independent living, or is it it's assisted living and then memory care.
Yeah.
So, as Jack was saying, you can't
But
apply
that's
affordability to that, right?
But the proposed change in that section would match what the state is counting for the affordable housing ratios for everything. Based on how they look at, do you qualify for 40Bs and all that stuff.
Right.
So that's
Yes.
fine. Yeah, I think the one-stop shop, I think it goes further than I think we would want it to with lumping everything together. Not that I like having all the boards involved, but in a lot of cases they are better at some things than we are.
It feels too much like a comprehensive
Yeah.
permit. It's exactly what it is.
Agree on the 50-foot option. It would need to be a high bar for me to look at something like that, so I don't like it being spelled out like that. And I think this is just a question for the question about one building per lot, like, I look at if you want to put a lot of buildings on smaller lots on a large amount of acreage, the tool that I would look to use in our existing bylaw is the cluster. Because in that case, you can reduce the lot size down from the 80,000 square feet if you're setting aside open space and if you have that available. So that would be the tool that I would think would make sense here. And allowing more than one building per lot, I get it from like a neighborhood cottages aspect, but it's tough to look at it right now. I don't know if the applicant, you're actually not an applicant at this point. I don't know if Mr. Jacoby has done the math on does a cluster work for what they want to do, or is it just not enough? But
Yeah, we
just
have done the math, and there's a substantial amount of wetlands on the 93 acres, and so we are proposing to preserve 2/3 of the area as open space. We've also made an arrangement with the Norton Land Preservation Society for them to be the stewards of that land if we go forward with the project. But yeah, we don't have enough frontage or area to have as many buildings as we would like to have. It just doesn't work out.
Okay.
Even if you could count all 93 acres, you just couldn't do it.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think, Alan, I think you hit the nail on the head a little bit with the overall comments. Not that some of them aren't needed, especially the comment about that they mentioned in terms of the Norton residence line. Like, I don't see that one opening us up to a amount of criticism. I don't want to throw the good out with the bad, but I think there's a lot of it that gets into that gray area that I don't like so much.
If we do this in our bylaws too, it applies to the whole town, so.
Oh yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So it might be okay for you guys, but then we wind up regretting that we made those things allowable.
Bridget, Eric, anything?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said, Mr. Chair, and everyone else. But yeah, I just struggle with public reception right now, going to town meeting this late, and that it is attached to a project like this. How far along is this project? Do we know?
We haven't
It's
seen
not.
it,
It's
so
not. This is like just conceptual, kind of. Okay.
Daily
Okay.
conceptual.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, we're still working with the architects and the engineers on design work. We've been working for the better part of a year. We're still working on making it work. But as I said, the problem is we can't even apply to you.
Right.
Yeah, if I could add in again, I do like the concept.
Yeah.
The concept's fantastic. The idea of senior housing and a mixed-use community is a wonderful idea. I just personally, my bias is that cluster developments, mixed-use developments, and the senior housing as it's written as a community should all belong into a district that when it's done, it's approved by the town to be in that zone. I think it should be its own overlay.
If you were to create an overlay district that would include our land as well as other land, that might be appropriate, and worked on that for perhaps, another town meeting, maybe in the spring, we certainly would be willing to help Paul with any drafting that might be needed in order to do that. But I hear you. I understand what you're saying, and we'll be back to the drawing board trying to figure out how to make this project a reality.
I do really like the project as well, and it is important for seniors to be able to age in place and like remain independent in various stages. So I do like that. It's just tough right now, with the logistics.
Right.
Chair,
Paul.
question. The building height, I know there's the concern about 35 feet, with the, this is, because we talked a little bit about the height prior to this meeting. I mean, this provision that we're carrying forward about maximum height with chimneys, domes, spires. What I guess I'm not clear, and I know you haven't designed it yet, but
We're partially designed.
okay, well, we haven't seen it, but is there any way that we could work under, what we're proposing in terms of height, including the additional height allowed for things like chimneys, domes, towers?
Well, first of all, I can tell you that even though we put 50 feet in here, our proposed building, at least the concepts the architects have now, is less than that. It's somewhere closer to 40, 42, if I remember right. So that's why we just tried to make it broader, so it wasn't just our project, but give you the discretion to choose whatever height you felt was appropriate for a particular project in a particular neighborhood. You end up, building height is, I'm not sure, do you have a new definition for building height, Paul?
No, we did not. I don't.
Because my
Well, let me
memory is that you did
confirm.
not define building height, and you relied on the building code, I believe.
That,
I mean, 50 is just a big number for somebody to see on a page. I
In
think
a
that's-
residential.
It is, yeah.
That's tough.
And we kept it at 35 for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It was because we didn't
Yeah.
want that.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, in Norton, obviously, we're a very low level type of development. Very few structures. I mean,
So, well, I think I want to thank you for your time this evening. And again, I want to thank you for the effort that you're going through to make these changes that your bylaw really needs. And it will be of value to the residents of Norton, also for those who want to build in Norton and those who try to figure out what's allowable and what's not, like the building inspector or Paul or me. So it's I do want to commend you for that, but we understand that you're probably not going to adopt many of the things that we're asking for, and so we'll just have to go back to the drawing board.
Okay.
But thank
I
you
would
for-
also, like you said, encourage you. You can obviously draft an overlay district and present anything to town meeting yourself as a property owner.
Resident or property owner. Yeah, he's Attleboro, so.
Well, the property owner, him
Yeah,
representing the property
yeah.
owner can.
The Daggett Crandall Newcomb Home Inc. is the property owner.
Yeah.
So, but again, thank you. Oh, do you have a question?
What'd you say, Bridget? Absolutely. Come on up. Come on up to the microphone and just state your name and affiliation, please.
Thank you. My name is Jeremy Vieira. I'm with Rogerson Communities. We're the manager and the partner with Daggett Crandall Newcomb. We're a nonprofit. We've been working in the Massachusetts area for about 160 years to house seniors, care for them, provide services that they need in the neighborhoods they grew up. We partnered with DCN, which has been in this area for I believe about 102 years. So really a long history of providing senior housing and services and care. So we love this community. We love Norton, and that particular property has been doing fantastic things for a very long time. And we really just want to see how we can get it to the next stage and be able to provide services with the technology that we have today to the seniors of Norton and the surrounding areas. So I think we are very open. I thank you for even looking at the presentation that we provided, and thank you, Jack, for that fabulous presentation. But we are open to input on those bylaws. That was a starting point that we wanted to present to you. But to the extent that it can be, feel free to redraft it and edit it to your heart's content. I think our goal is to be able to present to you and in some capacity in the near future what the project is and bring it forward for consideration. So,
And I think if anything you've heard tonight, we've all receptive to it.
Yeah, no,
We
and
all
I
think it's a
really
good
appreciate
idea.
that, yeah.
I just think it's a bad timing and
Yeah.
a bad avenue to get there.
Understood.
And I wish you luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jacoby.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Rob?
Just one thing out of that did jump out at me, though, if we want to make a note of it, is they're saying they don't even have the ability to come ask us permission.
Mm-hmm.
And we should at least be able to field the question, I feel like. I'm not sure if I would say yes to every little detail here, but.
They're saying they, under our current bylaw, they couldn't propose
Correct.
this type of development for many different, their project that they're thinking, many different reasons, height,
Yeah.
density, multiple buildings. It's not even close to being allowed in the bylaw that we're
No,
working
not
under
the
now.
height would,
It's not just the height, though. I mean, it's the multiple buildings, it's several things, I guess, is the.
To add to that, if they did want to propose a very similar project to this right now, they would just have to petition for a zoning change to village commercial.
Which we'd have to pull it up. You know, you got spot zoning issues, and there's several other problems just changing the zoning of one lot.
Yeah, that's
Now you're introducing, I mean, they can, but you could certainly hear concerns about retail and commercial uses now being allowed potentially. But that is an option to them.
It's just unfortunate they just happen to be in an R80. They're in our large residential district. It's
That's why I recommended a separate zoning overlay for clusters and senior housing.
yeah, and that's something we can look at down the road for sure.
Paul, after senior housing, what's next on the hit list?
Just a couple things. I still haven't heard from the Attorney General about under accessory dwellings. Can we put in a requirement to have separate utility connections to the ADU? At this point, I know, Ed, this has been a big issue. I'm afraid to put this in because the state could easily knock that out. They don't want any provision in here, even for ADUs, that they would consider to interfere with the ability to add ADUs. But
Yeah, and I mean, this law is ever evolving. Every time one goes in front of a board, gets rejected, accepted, the law changes and moves forward. I was at an inspectors meeting today, and they were talking about certain towns are even being told to throw out their local bylaws regarding a more strict septic system in favor of you can only go to what the Mass Code says because it's a Mass bylaw and you have to allow it. So I think ultimately the state is going to make this one of the least restrictive things we can possibly enforce. I haven't heard from any other inspectors as to have they made this bylaw change yet in any town. That seems to be the lightest worry that people have about it right now as they try to navigate the new law.
The wind seems to be blowing that this would not be allowed or allowed
Right.
for long.
But I did share, previously I shared the draft with the AG's office. They did a preliminary review and gave us a thumbs up. We had to make a couple changes that I made that are reflected in here.
Just the ADU or the whole?
Just the ADU, yeah. So I think at this point, I think we move on from this one. But I do want to note, it was Ed and then our water and sewer department that had raised this issue. And then we're on.
Before we move on, won't it just be enforced the same way as a septic system is designed now? You can't have, if it's the septic's designed for 4 bedrooms, you can't exceed it.
Correct. This is more, do you need 2 septic systems on your land now? One for your ADU and one for here?
Yep.
Can you add on to your
That's how I look at it. You'd have
septic?
to update your septic.
I feel like one way or another, you'll have to update something. It will have to enlarge. It comes down more when there's a sewer connection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You run the sewer through the other house and back out. Does this have a separate connection all the way forward?
Isn't it kind of like an electrical connection? You only allowed 1 utility connection per address?
That's not
That's how it's.
not in action anymore. But this is where without having an ownership requirement comes in. So if we run the electric through the primary dwelling to the ADU, this one doesn't pay, what happens over here? To me, it's kind of leading up to they're gonna allow these to be
So you're saying it's another mass law they didn't thoroughly think through before implementing? No, that's not what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. How's that?
Yeah. For the remaining edits, that was it. Unless someone else has some.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
We'll invite you to every meeting if it gets you to come. It's up to you.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
But we'll make these changes. I know we've got a couple still to look back at, but we're pretty much down to one or two.
Tom, anything you want to talk about? I know you guys weighed in on a few changes. You are getting kicked some some different things with variances and special permits with this. It gives you a little bit more work, but I think it helps you in what's now a Section 6 finding department. It kind of helps a little, I believe.
It clarifies, it changes some things, but we'll discuss it and take a look at this draft going forward and Paul's next draft with these latest notes in it. Thank you for allowing me to participate, and we'll be back in touch. Want to be part of the process to the extent anybody does show up to ask questions, and so thank you.
You participated plenty in the first round of all these. Saw the inside of your office from the camera many times.
Yeah, it was all remote, but yeah, last year.
We do have a couple members of the public, one more member of the public in person, and I think a couple still more online. If anyone wishes to make a comment or correction. Again, not seeing anyone running to the podium, and no hands are raising. No one's
I think Nick is on the zoning, correct? So
correct.
Yeah.
Nick Ferguson is appearing remotely as well, right? So thank you. Thanks for Nick as well.
Thank you, Nick. So I think that'll conclude our public hearing for this evening on our. Go ahead, Paul.
Do we need to discuss the letter we received?
We can. Do you want to post it, or do we want to just say we have a letter?
Do you want me to put it up?
Yeah,
on the screen.
Might as well. So we got a letter from a. He's not here this evening. He hasn't been able to participate, but Mr. Cogliano sent us a couple-page letter this afternoon that we're going to make part of the record. It's available in the folder in the page for the zoning bylaw update on our website.
Yeah.
But it's on the screen now.
I put it in Dropbox. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll just basically sum it up. He doesn't believe we should be pursuing this at this point, and it's not need. Doesn't believe that an update to our bylaw is needed, and it also makes a point of noticing that we've heard several times. Many people believe we don't do enough noticing for these hearings, and people don't know what we're doing. We try to go above and beyond and do as much as possible to get this out to the public. We try to do as much social media as possible. It's everything we do is out in open meeting. We don't do anything behind closed doors. Everything that's added into any of this is voted on in the public meeting. There's been many comments that we should do a mailer to every Norton resident. A couple of things against that. It's not required by law. And I don't know how much it would cost, but I guarantee it's not cheap. And
it would.
It's about 74 cents per person now.
Well, and
That's for a one-page letter, not for
Yeah.
a 100-page bylaw.
Well, and we're talking over 7,000 dwellings. We would be farming this out. So this would be going to a print service that, our non-personnel budget is not even $4,000. So I could easily see one of these being that amount.
easy.
Easy.
Oh, 7,000, if it's 74 cents for a first-class letter, these are at least $3 a pop.
We've mentioned it a few
And,
times.
and then we'd pay for envelopes. We would pay for
Yeah.
labeling.
You're talking 25 grand without blinking an eye.
Mr. Chair, let me just add, in my opinion, this is only an opinion, I don't even think it would move the needle
It
on the
wouldn't.
perception that you're talking about if we did a mail.
I don't think so. I'm only bringing it up because we've heard it several times, and
I think if we went through with it, it wouldn't change, it wouldn't bring about the change that we're.
Scroll down. Second page.
there is a mechanism on the town's website where a person can apply and enter their email address, and they can select which boards they want to receive agendas for. I personally receive agenda for every board in town. It's annoying, but at least I know when they're having a meeting, and I can look at the agenda or I can delete it. So anyone with an email address has that option open to them. As I said, I think Paul does go above and beyond, and if there's anything else that we could do and we're not doing, we'd love to hear it. We're going to have discussions with the new town manager. If he has any new ideas, I've already mentioned it to him. But as of now, we're doing our best to get this out there and whatever else we're doing out there to the public.
This is, if I may,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, thanks. This has been going on for over a year now, so I have to question somebody who says this hasn't been out in the open, in the public. It has. Every meeting, and I've not been able to attend many meetings, but it's always done on the record, either on the internet or in person here at Town Hall. So I question why somebody would say we're not, or the planning or zoning board or the town isn't giving notice about these meetings or the proceedings, I think is off the mark.
I agree, and every meeting is available on the Norton Media Center YouTube page. You can watch every meeting. And above and beyond that, on the planning board page for this article, Paul has even gone above and beyond and put it a timestamp on where we started discussing the zoning bylaw change. So you didn't have to scroll through or sit through our whole meeting. You can just jump right to that. So that's a great addition as far as I'm concerned. Bridget, did you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that and say, Paul, thank you very much, because I believe, I'm biased because I'm on this board, but our board does appear to do the most posting on multiple pages across social media and online. So thank you.
We just have to keep doing this for everything we
Yeah.
do going forward. And again, my belief is this is just not an item that most people are going to want to invest a lot of time in. And you all have been the recipients of, and you know how much time this has taken. Chair, can I just address one point here in the letter?
Yes, Paul.
And it says after a resident, this is on page 1, after a resident filed an open meeting law complaint, town council essentially admitted that a violation had occurred when the board did not disclose in its agenda that the hearing would involve recodification. I want to clarify, that is not what that letter from town council said. We clearly said we believe we did not violate open meetings.
And that's a state mandated. We were required by law to forward a letter.
Right.
It wasn't just us responding to the complaint. It was required by law that we had to draft a letter
and we
to
have
respond.
made adjustments to.
I believe, as I was going through the minutes that we're going to do tonight, even back in May, we started talking about the second meeting in May. I think we talked about redoing or renaming this. And I believe in June, maybe the first meeting in June, we said, let's change it to zoning bylaw update. We definitely heard people in the fall town meeting saying, even though there's many different definitions of recodification, maybe saying recodification for the last year and a half was wrong, so we changed. We're updating the bylaw. I believe the new town manager even made a little change to our agenda tonight and used the word substantive text amendments. So we're trying to clarify as much as possible. And I said it a couple times. Yes, we're rewriting the entire bylaw. We had a very prominent attorney start it for us. Paul, what was I had asked you earlier, and I don't remember the answer, the initial grant funding for the rewrite. You applied for that grant.
That was.
No?
Yeah, I've got it.
Well, I can say it. I know what.
Okay.
It's 50,000.
It was $50,000 originally.
for Mark Bobrowski.
for Borowski. And Paul, you applied for that through?
Maria.
No, Maria
Oh,
did.
So like, it goes all the way back to Maria.
Blame her for
Okay.
this. It was actually, well, the grant amount total was 60.
Oh, that's right. They granted us 60.
Yeah. I think there was an addition in there. So 60,000.
So this is not a cheap document that we're working on.
No.
No.
And it's not just the seven of us, the few different iterations of these boards, coming up with this language. Mr. Bobrowski is a land use attorney that's done many towns around. I forget how many he said, but it's a significant amount of towns in Mass he has done this process for.
And he has literally written the book on zoning in Massachusetts.
As far as going forward, Paul, our next meeting, do we have our second public hearing? Are we going to be advertising, or are we
It's already, we only
already-
needed to advertise for this one.
just this one?
Yeah, right. And we had two notices that were in the Sun Chronicle.
We'll put this on our next agenda. Just if there's anything we want to clarify, we'll probably use we'll use the exact same language going forward on our next agenda.
Okay.
And
What
like you
happened
had
if-
said, we were working on a joint meeting with the select board, our board, and if Tom wishes, the ZBA, a large joint meeting to hash out anything else before the final language has to be submitted and voted on. Tim, did you have
I
something?
say, do we need a motion to continue? If so, motion to continue to the 23rd.
Second then.
We have a motion to continue the public hearing on the discussion of the town meeting warrant to the 23rd, and a second by Rob. All in favor?
Aye.
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 We'll do a roll call vote just so we do everything perfect. Tim?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. We do have several other things on our agenda we got to talk about, just basically minutes, but I will not be sad, Mr. Noel or Mr. Bailey, if you go running out the door at this point. Unless you want to stay.
The minutes are exciting. We sometimes have performers come in for that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
you.
So
Thank you, sir.
our first set of minutes was from May 6, 2025.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion to approve in a second. Tim?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Yes, you were there.
Okay, I thought so. I was like, I wrote.
These all, you,
Yeah, I thought.
we were done with
Okay, cool.
you and Ken
All right,
not being there.
It's just
May 20th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Tim?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. June 3rd, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Tim?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. June 17th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Tim?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. July 8th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Tim?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. July 22nd, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Tim?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Bridget? Eric?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. August 5th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Tim?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. August 26th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Tim?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Paul, our next meeting, as we've seen, is September 23rd. We have 2 items so far, if I remember, at least on the agenda. We have a
25, we have the one on
The one from
Newland
tonight.
Street.
Newland.
Well, Newland Street, this, That's the subdivision plan, and then 77. And we don't have any new applications in.
Unless an A&R comes in.
Yeah.
Any other business the board wishes to speak about? If not, the chair would be looking for a motion.
Motion to close the meeting. To adjourn, excuse me.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Tim?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
Steve.
Thank you.